archaeological and astronomical based discovery images, in which reveals a different story concerning the creation of our solar system and planet Earth. Whereas the creation of the blue basketball-shaped Earth, which is 5 billion years old in carbon-14 dating, was done by 1 John 1:1, 15 billion year old sun throng, that magnetic rotating ball of hydrogen-like plasma we call the biblical light that created the world. This is our sun, or Psalms 84:11 sun throng. So this hydrogen-like plasma, through a 7-color hydrogen-light spectrum, rainbow spectrum, created our solar system and all the 9 planets within it. So as we go back to the false European man-based Lord God world religion characters such as Jesus or Jehovah, the first thing that is brainwashing Afro-Americans all around the world when they learn to read English or write in the English language is that their historical data about Africa is all wrong in the history books. And even in the King James Bible that was created 400 years ago in the 16th century. So we see like the 1609, the 1611 King James of England, a European king of the European Gentile nations, attempted to write the story of Adam and Eve and the Garden of Eden and the creation of the earth. This is what the Bible was all about. Okay, the English King James Bible that's read in Afro-American churches. So as we go back in time and look at what the book of Genesis called the African continent, the Pyramid E civilization of Ham. In other words, the entire African continent civilization is referred to in the mistranslated European King James Bible as Ham, or H-A-M. Now that word Ham denotes all of the people on the African continent, include Cush, Ethiopians, and it goes further to say that the ancient kingdoms of the African continent spell Pyramid E civilization of Ham. Now they don't say spell Pyramid E, they don't want you to go that far. The Bible just refers to the African continent civilizations as Ham, or H-A-M. Now that word Ham denotes all of the people on the African continent, include Cush, Ethiopians, and it goes further to say that the ancient kingdoms of the African continent spell Pyramid E civilization of Ham. Now they don't say spell Pyramid E, they don't want you to go that far. The Bible just refers to the African continent civilizations as Ham.
New archaeological, theological, and astronomical discovery images of Laurel Smith of Chicago, Illinois, actually destroys the 400-year-old mistranslated European King James false man-based Lord God world religion, Babylonian. As we take a look at the origin of the 6-point star in Judaism, we must go back to what the book of Genesis referred to as the African continent civilizations of Ham that started the ancient kingdoms of Babylon and Egypt. When we go back to Babylon and look up on the stone step pyramid temple walls, we see a stone 6-point star that has a central sun. And around the tip of the 6-point star, we see circles representing planets in our solar system. This forces many ministers, preachers, and pastors that's now preaching the false European man-based Lord God world religion narratives in the Afro-American churches to look at the African continent civilization of Ham, 6-point star in Babylon. Now this is the 6-point star that appears upon the ZACHARIAH SITCHINS 12th planet, where we see a sun in the center of a stone 6-point star surrounded by planets. However, this video in which Laurel Smith of Chicago, Illinois is making rewrites American theology, because now we see the black man face upon a lion's body that's couched down in front of the Isaiah 19:19 Giza pyramids to be the origin of Babylon, ancient Judaism, where now, if we look closely, if we use the ZACHARIAH SITCHINS 12th planet stone tablet, we magnify that tablet, and we will see 12 planets surrounding the tip of a 6-point star that has a central sun. That central sun is 1 John 1:1, biblical light that existed in the black outer regions of space before it created the 5 billion-year-old world and the planets in our solar system. However, the Giza Sphinx in the book of Genesis was denied in theological-based racism, in the theological-based form of racism 400 years ago in the 16th century, when King James of England appointed 72 Greek and Hebrew scholars to go to Africa, Jerusalem, Judea, and Samaria, and study the Islamic Aramaic Dead Sea Scrolls. What they did was erase the Giza Sphinx line of Judah, of Judea and Jerusalem out of the biblical narrative in the Western world. And when we look at the 6-point star origin of Judaism, we erase the false European state of Israel, 6-point star origin, and we give that origin back to Babylon, the black kingdom of Ham, since the Bible refers to the African continent as the children of Ham and the Europeans as the children of Shem, and all the Japanese and Chinese as the children of Japheth. Well, when we go back to Babylon and look at that stone 6-point star, not only do we see that the chief focus was Malachi 4:2, when the Egyptian sun is, and in our space, where the planets are orbiting around the biblical light that created the world. But if we take a second look, now we must use that ZACHARIAH Sitchin 12th planet of ancient Babylon image. So I took that image and I enlarged it so you can see it on my video. But when you enlarge that 6th planet of Babylon, the 12th planet of Babylon around the star that has a central sun, along the base of the bottom of the 6-point star line, you see a sphinx. That's right, the book of Genesis 49, chapter and 8 verse, Giza Sphinx line of the tribe of Judah. But then that's not all. If you take that Giza Sphinx, or African continent children of Ham, origin of ancient Judaism, then the focus of ancient Judaism was not about the false man-based European Lord God world religion images. It focuses humanity on to the planet of kinship, the 12th planet, NIBIRU. Now, Egypt is called the city of Mars, Cairo. If you look it up in a dictionary, Google it, Cairo means city of Mars. So if we go to Mars, we will see stone-step pyramids in the Chaos region and in Sidonia. Mars has 2 ancient regions where black Africans, the black African Ham children, or the origin of Adam. So we see, if we aerial view the Chaos region on Mars, we will see it represents the Epic of Gilgamesh, Babylon. Now you say, what? You know, there's a stone seal in the museums, archaeological museum. It's called the Epic of Gilgamesh, a Babylonian king that went above the atmosphere into outer space to the planet of kinship. Now you say, well, what that had to do with Judah? Because all of Babylon was created by black African children of Ham. All of the Egyptian style pyramids created by the black African children of Ham. So when we look at Jerusalem, outer wall in the Middle East, look up where the Golden Dome is, you see stone style pyramids carved on the wall. This is pointing not to the false European state of Israel, okay, but it's pointing to Judea and Samaria. These are all African Babylonian children of Ham kingdoms. So when we see the Epic of Gilgamesh displayed upon the satellite image of Mars Chaos region, we also see an elongated alien creator of man that stood about 4 feet tall, had 3 fingers and 1 thumb on each hand, big black oval-shaped eyes, and he had no penis or vagina between his legs. Therefore, the alien that created African Adam and Eve had no penis or vagina. So you cannot call the alien creator of man in the mistranslated King James Bible a he. You understand that now? Your ministers and preachers are in theological error. Now, when we go and see that the same Epic of Gilgamesh seal is like a seal, a tablet, a seal. Those images, when I placed that on next to the Mars Chaos region, aerial satellite imagery, it matches. And what we see here is a V, right? The satellite imagery on Mars chaos region. We see an upside down, well, we see a triangle. And a line going straight up the triangle, and then at the top of the line we see an egg-shaped head. Then we see a horizontal line going across. This is the aerial viewed Mars chaos region. Now, if we look at the Epic of Gilgamesh seal, the front surface, we see a triangle, just like when a man stands and open his legs, it's a triangle, right? Okay, now we see a line going from the base of the triangle, from the top of the triangle all the way up to, now we see an egg-shaped head. Okay, now we see a horizontal line representing arms. Why would we see the Epic of Gilgamesh, Babylonian image, on Mars? Well, remember, Cairo in Egypt means the city of Mars. Now we find stealth pyramids in the Mars chaos region. We have stealth pyramids in Babylon, stealth pyramid in ancient Egypt. But if we look closely at the Mars chaos region image, it not only has 6-point star lines when you're looking down upon it, but now we see in the center where the sun would be an elongated headed alien creative man. Now this is very important, because remember, these aliens with long watermelon shaped heads had no penis or vagina. So this is the correct image of the alien in Ezekiel's Old Testament glowing willing and will like UFOs. Now there was, if we look at the 6-point star line on Mars chaos region and the alien creative man in the center of the 6-point star, then we go around the 6-point star, we see circular mounds that represent ZACHARIAH SITCHINS 12th planet around the Babylonian stone 6-point star. This means that the black men called Ham, or the black civilization of Africa, in which the Bible refers to as Ham, their 6-point star is the true origin of ancient Judaism. Whereas we see the Epic of Gilgamesh displayed on Mars chaos region. Now if we come back on this video, you're going to see that the same stealth pyramid referring to the African Babylonian civilization of Ham, this is where Judaism starts. So if we go back to ancient Egypt, we see the stone stealth pyramid of Saqqara, stealth pyramid of Dosha. If we go from Egypt across the Red Sea into the Judean desert, we also see stone stealth pyramids. And ancient stone mountains look like Giza Sphinx's faces. So why would we connect ancient Judaism to Mars and the African continent civilization of Ham that started the kingdoms of Babylon and ancient Egypt? As ministers and preachers take a look at the Google map, I'm using a Google map. So we look at the V-shaped piece of land next to the African continent. This is to the right where the Euphrates River is. You say, why is that so important? Remember, at the top of the V-shaped piece of land is Judea. Below Judea is Jerusalem. Below Jerusalem is Syria. Below Syria is Iraq. Below Iraq is Arabia. Now it just so happens that if you area view that V-shaped piece of land with Google Maps satellite imagery, not only do you see Jabal, ALLAWZ, is JABALALLAWZ. That's Jabal, ALLAWZ. Why is that so important? That's the true Mount Sinai. You say, wait a minute, we're looking at the V-shaped piece of land. You say Arabia is at the bottom of the V-shaped piece of land, to the right of African continent. You say Iraq is above Arabia, Syria is above Iraq, Jerusalem is above Syria, Judea is above Jerusalem. Now, if you look at the map, the video image of Google Map I'm going to put on this video, you're going to say, look at that. Jabal ALLAWZ is at the top of the Giza Sphinx line of Judah here. The same black man face we see in front of the North African Isaiah 19:19 Giza pyramid. Now look, when you look at the V-shaped piece of land with Google Maps satellite imagery, we see a huge Giza Sphinx face wearing a royal Egyptian headdress, big circle eyes. We see a nose and mouth. Now why is Jabal ALLAWZ connected to a black man face up on a lion's body? That's the truth of Mount Sinai. Now I think it's the book of Galatians. Read it, it tells you Mount Sinai is in Arabia. You say, why your ministers and preachers is not telling the black people that? Because they don't want you to they are confused themselves, the ministers and preachers, by pointing to Israel when it was all about the Ethiopian couching lion Sphinx of Judea. Remember, the African continent civilization of Ham was Giza Sphinx was transported above the atmospheric region of planet Earth and into the outer reach of space. In Ezekiel's Old Testament, glowing circle of wood in the world like UFOs. Now you're going to be shocked when you see that the aliens that created Adam appears in Mars chaos region, appears on the Babylonian stone 6-point star, that appears in Sidonia. So this is a news shocker to many Christians that the black African continent civilization of Ham that started Egypt and Babylon, they have a stone star pyramid which has a central sun and planet, which brings our focus of ancient Judaism into outer space, and not to a false European man-based Lord God world religion image, a bearded man that has a penis underneath his white robe called Jehovah. In fact, it points humanity to the stars, to the biblical light of 1 John 1:1 that created the 5 billion-year-old world in the black outer region of space. Thank you very much.